So we'll start with this first clip. So the biggest thing for us with Nick was like, okay, we want a rim protection. So right here on any away or stagger screen away, the ball is the most important thing. So we want our bigs to always see the ball first. And Trae Young is a great player, right? But he loves to drive away. So even in this scrum action or this stagger away action, Nick does a great job right here of rim protection. And I think the other point we wanted to make was, at times you see bigs, they slap the ball and they get kind of hype. Well, he actually controlled this ball a little bit, right? So we could actually get the ball back. Just getting the finger on it allows us to get the offensive rebound. And again, this was really a positive edit that we actually showed him today, to be quite honest, about what is really important for his development as a player. So this is on what we call, flash or handoff action, right? We'd actually want him up another step and in stance, right, as they get to this double drag situation. But again, we talk about, we want to be in front of the ball and below the roll. And you can see right here, Zero's got the ball. He's in front of him, and he's below the roll. And Montrez is a great roller, but he does a great job here. And again, shot fake discipline. So again, he's here. It's pretty square, right? He stays down on the shot fake. He holds his ground and shows his hands. We talk about feet. We also talk about hands. He shows his hands, right? Montrez ends up not shooting the basketball. We end up getting a turnover, okay? So, again, pick and roll drops. So you can see Hero's a little bit more aggressive, so he's up a little bit more at the point of the screen. He's actually a little bit too low for me. I'm a little crazy about that stuff. But, again, in front of the ball, below the roll, you can see the little stab stunt at Hero to get him to pick it up. And then this is what's great about Nick. He's able to turn, and his ability to get to the next play. And, again, a wall up. Look at his hands, both hands up, showing that I'm not fouling. He gets a hand on the ball, right? We cause a missed shot. And again, we want to always talk about multiple efforts, right? And his ability to run the floor. So he actually scores the basketball right here. But then the teaching point would be he relaxes right here. We want him all the way back. We want him to turn and set our defense. Like start talking about what could be happening. A lot of drag action or, pick and roll. So although he's not in the proper, because Bam's already ahead, right? So he's a little late. But again, the positive is you can see he's trying to get square. And again, showing his hands, right? Protects the rim. He gets the block and we're off and out. Again, rim protection. So you can see it's a big point of emphasis for us. We want to eliminate all layups. And right here, he's back a little bit on the drop. He's square, but he's back a little bit too much for us. We would tell him, we want you at least one more step. We think you have the ability to be in front of the ball and below the roll with one more step, even with the arrow, who's a pretty dynamic roller. But again, in front of the ball, below the roll, right? The one thing I'll say on this one is we'd like to have him still in stance on this pass, right? See how he raises up? That's an area. Hey, Nick, we need you to stay in stance, stay engaged. But then he's really good right here. Again, in the restricted, you can't take any charges in the restricted. Go vertical, wall up. He does a good job right here. He tries to find Harrell again. Drive again. Again, really good block. He's quick off the ground. And this was one where we say, hey, instead of throwing it, back to the other team, control it. Control the block, get up in the air. And he actually makes a third effort right here again with the restricted. Completely vertical, hands up. He causes a miss. Obviously, that's a heck of an effort by Nick Richards. All right, rim protection again, right? So this really shouldn't have been him. This should have been Kai, right, on the crossing of the lane. But again, rim protection, makes a play, gets back in it. Great shot fake discipline right here. Makes a great decision on a 2-on-1 and then is able to make this play on Rudy Gobert. It's a big-time play by Nick Richards. All right? So we call this like flash action. We'd actually want to push this catch up a little bit higher. We don't want the bigs catching the ball on the elbow. So, he's got a few things he's working on right here when you talk about this play because, number one, we want him. This is actually decent positioning on the tight curl because he's got to do three things in this possession. He's got to help on the ball, help on the cut, and then get the flash action. So decent right here. right? We'd like to push this catch up a little bit higher, and then we call this flash. So what he should hear from Booknight right here is open, right? And he does. He opens up. They get the second pick and roll. You can see he's trying to make a call, so we can't hear on these things. But we always say if the body position changes, and you can see with Booknight, actually does a decent job. You can see him change his position to push it to it. He drives away, right? And then we talk about physicality with the box out. We talked about that before. When the shot goes up, when the shot goes up, see that? We want that leverage stance. We want that forearm to the chest, and then we want him pursuing the basketball, right? We want a clean space, especially against a guy like him who's always going. Here's another example of a block out. Not great, right? This is a 50-50 ball. He's going to get anything going long, so that's actually not a great clip. The second thing is not pursuing the ball. We want 5 guys going after the basketball right here. They end up getting it, and this one's a little bit better, right? But again, Jokic gets an advantage because he's, number one, big, and Nick's not ready. He's standing straight up. So that would be a point, a teaching point again, right? Get into his body, be the low man, but his pursuit right here is good, and he's strong, right? So we want to compliment him on his strength. All right, so this is actually something a little bit different. We're actually switching this with Doncic, right? He does a great job when on the ball pickup. Again, we want to be vertical. We want that pass to go over the top, right? And then he makes a second effort to get on the glass, gets the offensive rebound. Okay, so again, we talk about multiple efforts, and we'll end it with this one. I don't want to talk the whole time, but we're always about multiple efforts. So this is big time. This is rim protection. It's a great block. And then watch the run. We want our bigs running straight to the rim, right? If they have an advantage, they can post and seal. And if they can't, we want them to get to the dunker, right here to create space for the penetration. He actually gets the drop off for the finish. All right. So, we had about 19 clips that we showed him today. He's great. He's great to work with. Kind of a sponge. We ask him a lot of questions. It's not just me talking the whole time. What do we see on this one? Yeah, I need to get up a little bit more in the pick and roll, right? I can be up to the touch. In flash, we'll ask them, okay, hey, what's our call right here? Our call is flash. Okay, on the second pick and roll, what's our call? So some teams will be weak, strong. Some teams will be down, middle. We have our calls as well. We want it to be 3 times, right? Early, loud, and constant. Mm-hmm. He's fun to work with. I mean, he's a lot. And Mark's the same way. Mark is really smart, intelligent. We threw him to the fire towards the end of the season. Ended up, with the Mason Plumlee trade, we kind of threw him out there, and he did a phenomenal job. We got a lot of things that we're really looking forward to with both these guys and Kai Jones. I don't work with Kai as much, but Kai's a guy that as well. This summer will be big for him. And again, it'll be a lot of teaching. After every summer league game, we'll have video for the team, for the players that we're working with, and we want to see that growth